Joining me now, Sebastian Gorka, Fox Business national security strategist, former strategist to President Trump, and author of the new book coming out October 9, Why We Fight, Recovering America's Will to Win. It's available for pre-order now. Defense attorney Rebecca Rose Woodland back with us. Rebecca, your thoughts on the President bravura performance?
I thought he was so connected to the people. I thought he clearly speaks in regular language about the progress we're making as a nation, the progress to bring jobs back here, which ensures people and hope in the future for people. I mean, West Virginia has higher than the national average on unemployment. Yeah. These people are suffering down there. The opioid crisis has hit them very hard. Yeah. There's no jobs, and he's trying to bring jobs back to that state and back to our country as a whole, and I think it's very impressive.
And as Rebecca points out, Seb, 32,000 jobs lost in West Virginia under President Obama, this president creating jobs, creating also a future for the people of West Virginia that they had all taken, I think, as their birthright, and that is energy and coal as being a mainstay of U.S. energy policy and power.
You're right, Lou. This speech, one of his longer ones, really ran the whole gamut of topics, you name it, from China to NATO and what have you. But at the end of the day, he had that one bumper sticker moment about November, and he said it's about jobs and it's about national security. And we see the news about this illegal immigrant that killed this beautiful 18-year-old girl. So it couldn't be more tragic or more topical. But you're absolutely correct. For these are the jobs. The people in that stadium thought, as many Americans did, that these are the jobs they will never, ever see coming back to America. And the stunning thing is, Lou, it's happened in the last year and a half, just the last year and a half. And again, it's about not just producing for the American people, it's about that authenticity. And your guest really hit it there. This is a man who, however many apartments he has, however many golf courses he owns, however rich he is, he instantly connects with that audience. And that's truly remarkable.
Truly remarkable. And the Trump wave, he called it the red wave rather than the blue wave that so many are on the left, at least, are fantasizing about. Rebecca, I don't think I've ever seen, and I've covered a lot of presidents going back quite a ways. I won't make it too finite. I've never seen a president connect with a room full of people the way this president does. Obama, as a campaigner, was terrific, but no one rises to the level of this man in laying out in plain, straightforward language and very powerful language exactly what he means. This is a president, if you can't stand the truth, don't pay attention to what this president is saying, because he means what he's saying what he means, and he doesn't dress it up. He means for the American people to have that to have power restored to them. And that has to cheer every American, because what we're watching in this society now, and as we have watched this journey over the last 3 or 4 decades, the American people have been cheated first at the margin and then substantially of their birthright, which is the power of the governed to decide who will be governing them. And this president means exactly what he's saying on that issue.
He's empowering the Constitution and democracy. He's really allowing the people to come back into their own. He's giving people opportunities where there weren't opportunities. Opportunities were denied in this. He said those opportunities were given to China. They were given to other countries, rather than looking at America and saying, what can we do here to keep jobs here? What can we do here to keep the economic growth happening here? Why hand it all over? Why not create an equal situation with tariffs? Why are there high tariffs for our goods to go out, but not for their goods to come in? This is very basic, the way I'm speaking, but he speaks like that too. So he doesn't speak above anyone, but he explains that we need to keep the money here.
It is so powerful, Seb, when he speaks about tariffs. First of all, presidents just don't talk about tariffs. Presidents haven't believed in tariffs. They believed in this a sort of default anti-intellectual support for something it's just supercilious as the term free trade. First of all, there's been nothing free about it. Trade implies a reciprocity that hasn't existed for almost a half century in this country and its trade relationships. He talks about China and what American car manufacturers deal with, and he's exactly right. He used the example of a Chevrolet Camaro being shipped to China.
Yes.
Suddenly,
yes.
You know, a $39,000 car costs $119,000 by the time they go through the tariffs, the taxes, and all of the barriers have been put up by the Chinese. There's nothing free about free trade, but the Business Roundtable, the Chamber of Commerce, Wall Street, and the U.S. multinationals, and our good friends, the Koch brothers, would have you believe that free trade is exhilarating and free and an absolute requirement for prosperity, even though it has stripped this country, has been largely responsible for stripping this country of our prosperity over the course of the last 4 decades.
And in doing so, in discussing these issues that other presidents wouldn't discuss, he does it in a way that any American can appreciate. He says, you go to Berlin and you won't see a Chevy Camaro. You know, I spent 30 plus years of my life in Europe. There's a reason there aren't American cars on the continent, because the EU has a quadruple tariff on our products. And these are the people who are supposed to be the closest to us, our NATO allies, our friends in the EU. This is the revenge of common sense, and Americans can understand it. And to this philosophy that we've been buying into for more than 25 years, that it doesn't matter, it's a globalized economy, you can offshore all of these jobs. Wrong, because you get to a point where you are vulnerable and beholden upon others. And the president, unlike that cheesy plastic reset button Hillary gave the Kremlin, the president is pressing a real reset button economically to say, look, we're about trade, but it's got to be equitable, it's got to be fair, and if you don't do it if you do it in ways that undermine us and American workers, we will take action. And that's exactly what President Trump is doing.
Absolutely. Sebastian Gorka, Rebecca Rose Woodland, thank you both.